Hello, Mr. Cove here, and today we're going to be talking about Skull and Bones. So earlier this week, we had Season 3 of Year 2 come out. Kind of a convoluted system of telling us what season it is, but uh, all I can think of is that they're afraid to get to like Season 10 or something, and it sounds like the game's been around too long for new people to jump in. But anyways, so Year 2, Season 3, that's what we got. Bunch of new changes, a bunch of new additions. So we're going to go into all that here. We're also going to be talking about faction wars. I'm going to do that at the end and just give kind of a brief overview of that. I think that probably deserves its own video, and I kind of want to get at least a week into it to kind of have a more formed opinion on what we should be doing there and how that's all going to work. So with the patch coming out Tuesday, probably Tuesday or Wednesday, we'll have a video on that. But for the rest of it, we can go ahead and go over now. Hopefully everybody's had fun so far with the start of this season. So let's go over some simple things here first. First, we have, you go into kind of the dock menu. You see this auto repair option at the bottom right. So this is a toggle that you turn on and off. I think the game does a good job of showing you when you first log in that this exists. But I would suggest turning this on for almost everybody. If silver is an issue for you and you're like, I'd rather use a repair kit or something like that, then I wowould suggest watching my silver farm video and making silver not be a problem for you instead of not auto repairing. So if you're just starting out, you're limited silver, I get it, but that's a good option. It's nice to have that just automatically happen for you. So we do want to do that. All right. Next thing here, we can now ascend our armors. This is a big power boost, so I would suggest doing this. It is expensive as far as the materials, just like ascending a weapon. I did get a couple to drop kind of pre-ascended. But this is a good source of power. I would suggest doing this as soon as you can for whatever armor you're using on your main ship at the time. It does help quite a bit. Now, I don't know the math behind armor compared to resistances and stuff like that, so it's hard to say, this is the best option or whatever. But since you can kind of stack these, like, you have more armor and then you can have a % armor increase and stuff like that. It's probably better to go in one direction or other. Or if you want to make an armor that's, specifically for, a boss or something that has a certain damage, resistance that you want to have, then, you can configure an armor for that. There's also, show you here, the ability to lock in, mods now. Now this comes at a cost. What this means is, say, right here I have plus 105 armor. If I want to re-roll that, but I only want to try to re-roll within the range of that, then I can lock it in. So you hit L2 here, it locks it in. And you see how the price increases when I do that, right? Same for this one. This goes up quite a bit. So there is a cost associated with this, so it makes sense. You've got the mod that you already want, and you just want to re-roll a higher roll of it. You're only using one roll, so this is, if you have a lot of materials or resources to work with, this is how you're going to want to do it. Get the mod that you want and then lock it in and re-roll. But just notice that there is a substantial price increase when you do this. So, make sure that you have the resources and you're not just draining yourself because you didn't notice that this price went up here. This should make it much easier to get what we want, though. So great change addition to the game there. All right, we kind of have a new menu here, so we'll kind of go over a few of these things. In the seasonal hub, we want to check out the Smuggler Pass first here. Same system. You have the 3 different ones that you can spec into here. You do have to start from the beginning and go up, so it's not, where you can just kind of pick and choose within it. You do start from the beginning, and then each one of these that you uh, that you put in contributes towards your overall. So go ahead and look at that here. Sorry about that. Wasn't getting to the menu. So I just wanted to show you that the Sloop of War here is again positioned in the same spot. So you need to get 25 to get that. Sorry, 25 more for me. So you got to get to 45 to unlock that, which is halfway through the pass. Same as the frigate from last season to unlock the blueprint. I'm not sure what that's requiring as far as materials if we're doing deep iron and stuff again, but I'll certainly check that out once I get to that point. All right, and another new addition here this season is going to be the seasonal journey. Let's go ahead and click on that. Now, this is a passive tree that you unlock through quests, through doing certain bosses, or in some parts, like if you unlock this up here, this will just unlock the next two. Now, each of these comes with a guild mark price, uh, most of which you'll get just by doing the events that it wants you to do to unlock it in the first place. But if you're spending those guild marks on something else, then you might want to weigh when you're unlocking these things. Now, these are only seasonal buffs, so they're not permanent, just lasting through the season. So if you're going to do this, better sooner than later, so it's helping you the whole season. What these buffs generally consist of, they are minor, but if they're multiplicative, we're looking at over a 10% power increase and defense increase as well. So it's not nothing. And again, these are upgrades that will affect you for the end of the season. I went ahead and did all these. That was kind of the first thing that I did in the game here. So I do have all of them already. So as you can see, I haven't been playing a ton since the season started, but a decent amount to be able to get these. So if it's something you're targeting, you can do it pretty quickly. And since other people are going to be doing these bosses and stuff at the same time, you'll generally have a group that'll show up where you can request help and have people show up. So for quite a while, I think it'll be easy to find groups that show up and help with any of these things if one of them's a struggle. All right, and then we have Faction Wars, which you do want to unlock in one of the dens. You go over to the faction, let's see what they're called here, Broker. I'm just showing you guys on the map where they are in St. Anne here. You talk to them. They're going to offer quests and stuff, but your first activity is going to be which faction you want to take here. So let's take a look at that. Now, as far as which faction to choose here, I don't think there's a good and a bad one. You'll have this tab unlocked, the faction war tab, once you pick a faction. And then, as you can see, I picked the French here. We're up by quite a bit over in this area. And then in this area, we're down by about the same amount. So even, it'll end up probably being 1-1 here. So if you're worried about, who's going to win and just want to join the winning faction, it doesn't look to be a clear winner here. And this makes sense if we have two territories. There's a fort in each of these that could be attacked for either faction. And so that is probably why they're leading in each respective area, since if you're trying to farm for the French, I would go up here and there's a Dutch fort that you can attack easily. And then if you pick the Dutch, you can go down here and attack a French fort. So I think that's in respect to why, each faction is leading in each of these areas. And once we switch areas, we'll see if it kind of evens out that way every time as well. But as far as, picking which one's going to be good or going to win all the time, that doesn't look clear at all. It looks really even at the moment. So I would just go with whatever cosmetics look better to you, or, whatever your criteria is. But as far as, which one's good and bad or who's going to win, that shouldn't be a part of the thought process there. All right, and when you're talking to the faction broker here, they'll have some repeating quests here, give some guild marks. And some of these, the first time you do them, will unlock stuff on that tree that I showed earlier too. For that, there'll be some kind of main story quest things that you're going to want to do, and then these, and then some like the wanted poster are where the rest of the quests are. So I think between those three things, that'll unlock the tree fully for you. One thing I do want to point out that wasn't obvious to me here. Um, so you see how this is called the Wolves Hollow. It's the Mega Fort Wolvenhall. I didn't realize that's what it was called, and so there was something in the tree requesting you to complete this. And I was like, "What quest is this?" Couldn't figure that out. And then I googled it and saw it was this. So if you're confused on that, that's towards the end of the tree. That's what completes that for completion to unlock that with guild marks if you want. Okay, so let's get into faction wars just a little bit. Again, I think this probably requires its own video. So you have these war assets. So you have 6 out of 10 through the different benchmarks there, and then to get to number 7 there, I need another. I have 16 out of 500. Now you gather these from doing different events within this area, but also just by destroying ships or doing a plunder or stuff like that. And those will just drop whenever you get like a ship kill. You're doing parts of a plunder, you'll gain these war assets. And then for the like specific quest things that pop up similar to the Helm Empire, these are on a longer timer. I think it's 30 or 35 minutes that these war events pop up compared to 20 minutes with the Helm Empire stuff. But you'll see how much you're going to gain for any activity that you select there. So I've done some of the runs that give you like 400. And be aware if you do, it's kind of like a PvP thing. It's kind of like the Helm, where you're grabbing a chest and then trying to get it to a certain location, right? The legendary chest or map or whatever that you're bringing to a different location. There's a similar quest for this, but instead of just worrying about the one guy that might be with you that's trying to attack you in the PvP, ships spawn constantly for that. So there's kind of two ways to approach that. Either bring a ship that's ready to just kill a bunch of other ships on the way. They're going to try to cut your sails while you're doing it as well. Or, maybe take a brigantine or something and just outrun them all and not worry about it and get point A to B as quick as possible so you can get the 400. But if you do kill the ships on the way, note you do have to be within this area to get those war assets. So, you can certainly fight them and get what they drop and stuff, but you're not automatically going to get more war assets unless you're in one of the zones killing the ships. So just be aware of that. I ended up just doing the brigantine for my after the first run because it seemed like getting to point A to B was the better option than the just fight everything with my frigate. So, all right, and then there's a reward track for getting through these as well. You see we're 6 out of 10. There's more of these. You see it goes past 10, but these are locked behind battle periods. So you see that in the top. It says 10 days left. So it looks like it's on a 2-week cycle for these. So you have some time to max out and get the 10th reward. I haven't done many of these, so the fact I'm already at 6, it's going to be pretty easy if you play just even a decent amount to be able to complete this in 2 weeks. So, and then we'll get further into the tree here, or the rewards in week 2, and it looks like there's a total of 6, so 12 weeks. That makes sense. That's about a season, right? So that's how that is working. All right. Another change that they made is also increasing the capacity for all of the ships. I'm not sure what the amount was, but you see for my frigate, I have 190,000 capacity. I think that was like close to maybe 90 last season. I can't remember, but I'm pretty sure it's more than doubled for my frigate. So this has increased throughout all the ships, but the bigger the ship, the more capacity you're going to have here. This is really nice. Unfortunately, it's still only like the 50 item limit, which is still going to come up pretty quick. But for example, if you're going to go do a plunder and you have multiple quests for that, and your cargo is going to, be well over 100,000 from completing it, you'll still be able to get the rewards from the plunder itself, which was, kind of a pain in the butt, especially if you were, doing one of the good ones where the last hit of the plunder was giving some decent things, but you couldn't pick any of it up because you had the helm materials from the quest filling up your cargo before you could pick up the last hit of the plunder. So that's nice. That shouldn't be an issue unless you're trying to do like a 6 quest for a plunder or something, which I think the most I've ever done is 4. So that would kind of be hard to get a 6. So also I up till this season, I was still getting plunders to fail. That has not happened this season yet. That doesn't mean that bug is completely fixed. I may have just been lucky, but so far so good with that. So I hope that is the result everybody else is seeing as well, because those plunders are very valuable for getting silver. So and also they've increased the rewards for that as well. Let's go ahead and take a look at that. All right, so we went over to our helm hotkey here, teleported us over there, and now we're checking for these plunder quests. These look like they went up as well, as far as just the base that they're giving you. Still not worth doing for the most part. But these, as you can see, they've gotten significantly better. It looks like about a 50% increase from what they used to give. So that's a big chunk there. Still don't think we have a use for Jade quite yet, so I would skip those. But these other ones are even more valuable than used to be, again, by about 50%. So a great way to make silver. And again, I haven't had the plunders bug out on me thus far, so I'm hoping that's completely fixed. But let me know in the comments if people are still having that issue. Hopefully it's gone now. All right, so we're back into our faction war menu. Just wanted to show you guys the war cargo. That's what I was referencing before. That gives the 400. These do have a start timer, like the PvP helm things. So if you do join, you're going to be waiting. It's not going to automatically trigger like in 30 seconds the way a non-PvP like helm event would or something, or a monster that you want to trigger. Let's go ahead and take a look at that. We'll go ahead and teleport in. Okay, so similar to the Helm quest, you see how this is going to spawn. You're teleported maybe like 700 meters away or something. When the timer's up, this will spawn, and then if someone else joins here before it starts, then we'd be fighting over, who grabs this, try to kill each other to take it, and then we're going to be going to a location. All right, let's see, someone did just join here. All right, and then once we grab it, we're told where the location is here on the map. We don't have to figure it out or anything. And then you can just kind of, again, go there or fight on the way. But um, you do have a lot of things spawning on you, so you got to be careful if you just stop and fight. You're going to have lots of stuff show up. All right, so our little buddy did not catch us. We go to wherever we need to go, dock, and that automatically completes the quest, and we get the 400 here. And you see that's one of the repeatable quests that you can get from the faction um, vendor guy as well, broker. Okay, and now I just want to show you guys, what killing a ship and whatever gives you and how that works. So you see we're within the faction war territory. So we're going to go ahead and go look for some ships and see what they give us. Okay, so here's a couple ships. Obviously, it's just going to be the faction that you're fighting against that you get something for. Okay, and you kind of see you got the war assets there on the kills. Looked like it was about 8 per ship. So compared to 400, not much. Wouldn't suggest just roaming around, killing ships to farm this. Okay, it looks like most ships give 8. If they have a little quest icon, the special ships, they'll give 15, quite a bit better. Let's check out a plunder here and see how much it gives. Okay, so we're looking at the first plunder loot here. Just the first hit. Looks like it's giving 22, so not bad. All right, second one hit, 23. Okay, I do want to point out see these ships here. They have the red flags. I don't know what they look like for the French if you've picked Dutch, but just be aware that these ships are not going to give more assets when you kill them. Not that you have a choice on what's spawning during a plunder. Um, but if you're curious why not all the ships are giving it, that's why, and you'll be able to tell by the flags they're flying here. All right, and then the next plunder hit here gave 31, so it does look like it escalates here. All right, and then the last one gives 46, so not too shabby here. Okay, so initial thoughts on what it looks like would be good to, farm the faction wars here to get 3 or 10 things, or you just want to, contribute more assets or whatever. It does look like, those 400 quests there where you're grabbing a chest and then taking to the location. That does look like the most efficient thing. Obviously, that's not going to be available all of the time. It's also PvP, and someone else can, ruin your day there. So that's an option. And then the plunders, which are also going to spawn ships. Unfortunately, not all of them are going to give war assets. I think some of those red colored flagships gave like 2, some gave 0, as far as I could tell. Um, and then you get the 8 and 15s that are spawning as well, and then escalating from 20 to 30 something on each tick of the fort plunders. So that seems like the second best option. That's available most of the time. You do have plunders that have cooldown, so if people keep hitting the same spot, which they probably will, with the one fort that's in this area, that might not be available at all times either, but it's going to be more consistent than doing the quests here. So that's seems like the best way to do it. Sailing around, killing ships would be the third, worst option here thus far, as far as I can tell. But we'll just leave it at that as far as, what we think of how to do the faction war for now. I should have more opinions on it next week here when we've done a little more, seen a little bit more of what we could do. Okay, and just the last thing I wanted to touch on are the poison weapons. We have the Sloop of War. You saw I do not have that yet. I'm just going through the battle pass as normal, and then when I get to that, I'll try it out. I did use the Sloop of War in the quest chain there, where you're swapping ships and had poison weapons on it and stuff. That seemed fine. But again, I don't want to give my opinion based on a pre fab ship that's going to be way worse than what you build for yourself. So hard to tell how good those are going to be. And I haven't done any PvP yet where, other than those convoy things, where war cargoes, I guess they're called, not convoys. But anyways, as far as how effective those are in PvP and stuff, I don't know. I haven't checked those out yet, so we'll get to that eventually. But for now, no idea on how good the Sloop of War is or how good the poison weapons are. But we'll check that out later. Okay, I think that's it for now. Again, a few days from now, we'll have another faction war, more in-depth stuff, and see if we can figure out exactly how we want to do that, what the best ways are to farm that stuff, that kind of thing. So Those are my initial impressions, though. Hopefully that helps, and I will see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching. Bye.